English translation. 65th contact, Saturday, 23rd October 1976, 0247 HRs.
Let us go inside. It is very cold out here.
As you like. Who else is in the ship? I cannot see the figure.
My father. He wants to talk with you.
That is a nice surprise. What is so important to talk about?
You will see?
Okay. Ptah, how happy I am to see you. Greetings and a heartfelt welcome to our barbarian planet.
There is great joy in me, for you are a dear friend to me whom I like to see. I thank you for your kind words. Greetings.
Today you both have a somewhat strange form of greeting.
It probably results from the situation and the mood. But now listen to me carefully, my friend. I was called by my daughter to clarify various incidents. In particular, these are quite bad machinations of recent times, based on elements that endanger your life.
You speak of the odd tracks and the incident in Winkelried near Vetsikon, where this light body from a ship unknown to me sailed down on me.
That is so, that is what we are talking about. But let us start at the beginning. By my order, different members of your group and also outsiders were led by thought impulses to certain emotions. These were designed to grasp threatening events and to influence you in such a form that you do not undertake any major journeys in the near future, especially not those that are connected with lectures related to our existence. You yourself were also captured by these emotional impulses of your group members and consciously received them as well. But as I was able to analyze, you were very reluctant to do so, even though those around you also tried to keep you from your intention. You are quite stubborn and unreasonable in this regard, for when we strive so much in such forms for the prevention of an impending event, then you should also act accordingly and not work against your feelings. We know very well what we are doing and why we are doing something. It does not come by chance and not without sufficient reason, because if you would undertake your intended journey, then you would be extremely endangered. Some evil elements are prepared to kill you because you have made them very uncomfortable. This is a reaction to the fulfillment of your task, which you unswervingly carry out despite all counteractions against you. But this endangers certain elements that want to spread with their world-shattering intentions. Through the many publications in publication bodies around the world, an extraordinary number of people have become aware of our existence and above all of you, and even governments that even until now, or recently, were still negating, have changed their previous negative efforts into the opposite. As a result, various states have made great efforts to clarify matters and have come across things that they had previously dismissed out of hand. They also learned that in some countries there are earthly interest groups at work that can boast of higher technological development than is generally the case in the rest of the countries of the earth. Almost abruptly it came to pass that at various points on Earth there were stations of those elements and private circles of interest that seized the plans of the flying discs at the end of the last World War, namely in Germany and Canada. These elements, however, which have built stations in inaccessible places for the Earth humans, and have developed quite airworthy devices there from the stolen plans, now feel extremely endangered by the investigations of certain countries, and they fear that you could give exact information about their existence and the coordinates of their stations if you were to be questioned by any secret services involved in these investigations. That would mean that armies could be set in motion to destroy the stations and get hold of all the achievements. But to prevent such a step, a special group in Brazil is trying to shut you out and to push you out of this world. This is a group of fanatics led by a man from Germany called Duneberg. His far-reaching relationships also guarantee him many followers in the mentioned country, where a large number of people are constantly influenced in negative form by technological equipment and who, not knowing why, turn against you and your task and constantly try to destroy our mission. Bertossi and Ahrens belong to these influenced elements, as well as various other people you know very well, who are constantly receiving the latest information through very unethical channels. In particular, the source lies with Margaret Rufer, who may not be deliberately treacherous, but in a thoughtless and extremely autocratic manner spreads all knowledge and every message from your group and lets it reach channels that work against you all. These then strive to falsify all material, to clothe it in lies and to spread it in a very wide form. But if you would not change your mind and therefore go to your intended lecture, then you would on the one hand promote these things, and on the other hand conjure up an event that we could not control. So steps have already been taken from different sides to get you out of the world through an event in which we are not allowed to intervene. So you would be on your own and helpless, because what is foreseen is so infamous that you do not want to overlook it, which would result in the cruel plan succeeding. This would not be an event in Munich itself where you want to appear with your friends, but on the way there because they have planned a high-speed destruction of the vehicle that you would be in. This means that your fellow passengers would also be endangered, not just yourself. So much I have been able to clarify so far, and for this reason I must give you a determination which I am very unaccustomed to, namely that I forbid you to embark on this journey. Also in the future you should not do or plan any major journeys, for we are not yet able to oversee all things. This may take several months, and until then you should refrain from giving any lectures outside your home and from traveling outside your home country. Should you not do so, then I would have to intervene personally and try to prevent everything. Your stubbornness in pursuing the goals you have set yourself and in keeping a promise you have made is admirable and quite good, but not in these things. Remember, on the other hand, that we are constantly striving to use our capabilities to the best of our ability for your benefit, against which you should not resist. In the future, do not chasten your feelings of foreboding, but live by them and follow them as you have learned. But if you act contrary to this, then on the one hand you consciously create evil for yourself, and on the other hand you burden us with unnecessary extra work. Last but not least, there is always the danger that we do not control all things and understand what could be to your detriment. Already once we could prevent a malicious event in the last moment when you and your friends drove the same way, which you wanted to drive also today. You may remember that the wheels on your friend's car suddenly started to jump because the nuts had unscrewed. That was not a carelessness on the part of the repair shop workers, as you suspected, but a targeted attack on the lives of your friends, and above all, on yours. I myself tried to clarify these things because everything seemed a little strange to me. The fact that the nuts on all four wheels were loosened is too illogical to be traced back to chance or simple negligence. So I tried to get things right and found out that in the night in question, a person who unfortunately remained unknown to me had tampered with the vehicle and unscrewed the screw nuts in their thread. Furthermore, I was also able to clarify the events in Winkelried, near Wetzikon, near your place of residence, but also the presence of the tracks of a beam ship that did not originate from one of our beam ships. The tracks you discovered were of a ship belonging to the Brazilian Private Interest Group, which had sent out a command to investigate your circumstances as closely as possible. According to my research, there were 5 people who checked over everything very carefully. The ship itself is not a product of the power group itself, but is stolen. Years ago, it was stolen from a crew who had landed in Brazil from a distant galaxy and had to make an emergency landing as a result of damage. The interstellar propulsion of the ship was completely destroyed and cannot be repaired, at least not by the technicians of this power group. Only the planetary anti-gravity drive is still fully functional, which is sufficient for planetary flights. But you saw the same ship weeks later in Winkelried, where you came across this object on your very unreasonable search for this mysterious object, which put you in great danger. There were 2 men out in the field watching your approach, which was easy game for them, because at that time they were watching you all the time. Wanting to kill you, they prepared everything and guided you to the place of the planned event. It was your luck that in that dark night you cautiously drove your vehicle without light, for only because you were not exactly visible in the darkness, the shot from a rifle missed you. The fact, however, that after this dangerous incident you still drove unperturbed further under the slowly gliding beam ship was already illogical and irresponsible, because after the shot you had to expect that further attempts would be made. When a primitive light device was let loose on you from the beam ship, whereby you had to be seen in the brightest light and could have been shot at again, only then did you recognize the real danger and threw yourself into a hollow, after which, when the bright light went out, you drove away. In this illogical action, I want to make you aware of the fact that, as usual, you suffered greatly from fatigue and had no knowledge of the real connections of things. So I do not want to rebuke you for this, but recommend that you adjust to these new moments in the future and secure yourself to the best of your ability. In this regard, therefore, you should not again reveal your often rather unpleasant stubbornness and consequently rely on your friends who are very concerned about you, who are constantly trying to keep you away from the evil things and to protect you. Let them be responsible for the things of technical protection, since they strive to help you and give you security through the purchase of means of distance communication. But you resist their efforts in a very stubborn and unreasonable manner, only because you find the purchase price too unfair. But you do not understand anything about these things, and you should not touch them either. Your anti-materialism goes beyond your own life, which is why you should not have a say in these things. If you are asked whether these means of communication, which you call communication devices or radio devices or similar, are useful, then you should truthfully affirm this, as you have also done to my knowledge. However, you should not express yourself with regard to financial matters, because you do not understand anything about them, which you know very well. In addition, it is a great need for your friends of both sexes to know you are in safety, which is why they all want to make an effort to acquire the means of communication that have become necessary, but which you undermine by your stubbornness with regard to the financial concerns that deter you and are incomprehensible to you. You should think about that, and indeed quite quickly. Follow this advice as well as the one that you should never go unarmed into the wider surroundings of your house. If you should not do this, then all your friends would have to make every effort without your consent and simply make you face the facts, as they did an hour ago, which you will experience when you return to your home. Your friends have done what you should have done a long time ago, but you will see what I mean. With that, my friend, I have explained everything to you.
It was quite a lot. I know, I am an idiot, but...
You should not humiliate yourself in this manner. Your anger against yourself does not entitle you to it.
Okay, then not. I know that I have made a serious mistake, and in the future I will act on your instructions on these matters, or I will just keep my mouth shut. I really deserved your sermon. I was quite stupid.
Sure, you can call it that, even if I do not feel so myself. It is very clear to me that you let your feelings guide you, because you did not want to disappoint your very dear friends in Munich, and because you are also very aware that you have to fulfill your task even under dangers. You cry in yourself, that is what I feel. I am very sorry for you, but it really has to be like Father told you. Your fulfillment of tasks is much more important than the anger of some fools who will insult you and your friends who will visit you today. Wait for them to come and you will see that they are fully understanding. Only beware of the coming intrigues and hypocritical attempts of those who now, because you will not give any of the announced lectures, try to penetrate your group by all means to endanger and destroy everything, whereby Amata in particular will be endangered. Remember that the opponents will work very quickly and will not let 2 days pass before they make their first advances.
I do not quite get what you want to say.
Sure, it is also very understandable to me. You are on the one hand very tired and on the other hand so emotionally agitated that you are no longer able to think clearly. But in a few hours you will find out what all my explanations mean. At the latest on Sunday you will see clearly.
Well, then I will wait until I am reasonably normal again.
There was no mention of you not being normal. You are simply overtired and angrily dejected. However, that will resolve itself very quickly, because tonight you will have many, and your dearest friends with you. They will help you.
You speak in riddles.
You will see. But now to something else. Meanwhile, it was possible for me to take care of the concerns of El Hoa and Carlo Dish. In connection with a station on Proxima Centauri, it turned out that all El Hoa's records are stored there. The records say that El Hoa was in brief contact with 2 Earthlings. A Carlo Dish, however, was not one of them. Contrary to the things Carlo Dish mentioned to you, great doubts arose for me and my father regarding these statements, so we took a closer look at the man and found out that all his expressions, also in many other relationships, originated only from his own imaginative brain, and that he had never seen a beamship or been in contact with an extraterrestrial intelligence. Everything is a lie for the purpose of self-exaltation and his pronounced urge for recognition, which has already brought this man an unusual amount of evil. Also, his offer of work for your mission is based on unjust things. On the one hand, also in his irrepressible urge for recognition, which seems like a pathological addiction to him, and on the other hand, in his irrepressible desire to obtain enormous financial advantages with everything and everyone. His dishonesty is so pronounced that he would lie to and deceive even the best friends if he had such friends.
That is hard, especially for him.
Sure, especially if you give him my statement. Unfortunately, like you, we are constantly being deceived by Earth humans, which will probably continue to be the case in the future.
I will certainly do that. And with your last statement, you will probably be right.
That is my wish, although I fear that he will not let himself be instructed and will continue in his old ways unperturbed. He is truly fixed in all his actions to such an extent that he is already no longer able to separate his swindles and lies from the truth and accepts them as real reality.
This is bad, but we have already suspected something similar. I feel very damn sorry for the man, as well as for Hans Jacob, who somehow still lies in my stomach and keeps me busy.
You will hear from him shortly.
Oh, good grief, that too. I do not want to have a row with him.
His appearance will be of a different nature. You will see it.
Okay, I do not like thinking about him now either. I have a lot of other worries and problems.
Sure, but they will resolve very quickly.
That will be the case. But do not let yourself be tempted to be overconfident because the cosmic influences are very aggressive at the moment, and you have a hard fight ahead of you until the middle of next year. Your dear friends staying with you will tell you more about it. The time will be very difficult and full of dangers, so be careful and cautious in all things, as you were advised by my daughter at the beginning of the year.
You mean Martin and Mara?
You say it. You know very well.
Of course. I am supposed to give you all my best regards from all of them. But also from all the others. And of course, especially for you, girl, a very warm greeting from my dear friends in Munich.
It is a great pleasure for me to receive these greetings. Pay tribute to all of them also my joy, my love, and my thanks.
Of course, I will gladly do that.
You should also express my feelings to them.
I will do that too.
You stay here with my daughter for a few more minutes. In the meantime, I will take care of your vehicle myself and examine it.
It is certainly not sick. What do you want?
You are illogical. Your vehicle cannot get sick.
Senjase laughing loudly.
Father, this is supposed to be a joke.
I do not understand.
I will explain it to you later. Go on now. You want to see if any devices for locating and bugging, etc. have been secretly attached to his vehicle?
That is so. It must be so because during your last visit you were harassed, as you told me.
Sure, but there was another reason for finding us, namely the very primitive technical communication devices that the pursuers had used and that we could locate.
Still, I will check.
Thanks, Ptah. Then I can save myself a lot of work, because I always look around my vehicle myself, but I have not been able to find anything yet.